10,000 fearless on the move.
Let's go.
Deep in the delta where the willows grow, in the soil stained by the blood of my ancestors. Punch bowl voices call out to my soul for justice. The wicked will reap what they've sown. Spirit of Aziz is back on the rise. Soldiers in the delta kept it alive. Time to stand up, take our place in the sun. Understand the time and what must be done.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. This is it. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip.
Gotta make a move and take control. Have something we can call our own. So shine your light, help the people see that now is the time for us to be free. And if you waiting on the pie in the sky, you better wake up fast. They told you a lie, cause big fields await the wide awake man. Elijah's got the massive
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. Mississippi. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip. Injustice we've had enough. All of our divisions we're breaking up. Destiny has been calling us. The spirit of the Most High is guiding us.
See, the time is now. What you waiting on? Quit shooting your brothers. Put your gun down. Come on. They got a cage waiting for you if you keep that up. Early graves coming to you. From that, can't raise you up. Now, Sister Ida B and Fannie Lou, check them out and you'll know what to do. But if you really want your enemy to be alarmed, read the final call. Follow Farrakhan.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. Mississippi. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip. 10K fearless on the move. 10K fearless on the move. 10K fearless on the move. In Mississippi. Mississippi. 10,000 fearless on the move.
Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you, and welcome once again to the 10K Fearless Tri-State Podcast. I am your brother, your friend, and host, Abdul Shahid Muhammad. We will begin immediately tonight, dear family, in the name of Almighty God, Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. We bear witness to the oneness of God, to the oneness of His prophets, and to the oneness of the scriptures that were revealed through them to the whole of humanity. We, as spiritually mature people, honor and respect all of the righteous names by which the divine creator is known, whether you are Muslim, Christian, Jew, agnostic, or whatever divine path you follow to get to the oneness of God. We greet you once again with the greeting words of peace, of Assalamu alaikum, or in the English language, it simply means may peace be unto you. Brothers and sisters, we got a lot to cover tonight. We have a very, very special guest that's going to be in the second half of our program. He'll be coming on at about quarter till the hour. Brother Markel Bridges, doing great work out in the community, activism, and is being a voice and a support to those who don't have adequate support and don't have a strong voice and advocacy. So we're going to be interviewing our brother who's been in touch with the Reed family regarding the murder, we can really say at this point, of Trey Demartravion Trey Reed at Delta State University. The results of the independent autopsy is in, and we should know, brothers and sisters, what's going on in spite of all of the noise that we hear on the news. There are things happening among us, brothers and sisters, that really deserve national news coverage, but it barely makes it past local news. But we're going to use this platform as a bullhorn to make our people aware, those who would tune in, of what's happening to our people in Mississippi and down in the Delta. That's been going on for generations. Once again, welcome. We're going to get right to our axioms, and we're going to get right to our commercial break immediately following, because we always want to keep these things in mind, brothers and sisters, as we have these discussions and our guests come on. Please keep in mind these axioms. An axiom is a state or proposition which is regarded as being established, accepted, or self-evidently true, to serve as a premise or starting point for further reasoning and arguments, okay? And the first axiom I like to give to you that we should reason with comes from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, wherein he says, quote, "He who gives you the diameter of your knowledge prescribes for you the circumference of your activity." That is evidently true in the fact that national and international news, mainstream, they rarely cover the topics that we talk about that are of interest and concern to the vast majority of black people in America. What's been happening in the Delta, brothers and sisters, is an afterthought or a footnote in the scheme of mainstream media, okay? So that diameter of knowledge is what they prescribe. So many of our people are oblivious, or just, that's about the best way to put it, to what's really, really happening in these small townships, particularly in Mississippi and Alabama. The second one from the Honorable Louis Farrakhan I'd like to give to us is, when you see men fall, don't laugh, learn. Learn because you're on your way up, and the things that tempt people to fall, you and I are not free from that temptation, nor from the weakness that will cause us to stumble and fall. When you laugh at somebody else's fall, white or black, rich or poor, your enemy or your friend, you're laughing and opening a way for your own demise when you do that, because to laugh and not learn, to make a mockery and not to understand, is to make the same mistake yourself. And I'll close with this last one from our dear brother, Dr. Martin Luther King, who quotes one Mr. Victor Hugo, who said, quote, "If the soul is left in darkness, sins will be committed. The guilty one is not he who commits the sin, but he who causes the darkness," end quote. So, brothers and sisters, we want to shed a little light. All we ask is that you don't cover your eyes, because the light is so bright. It produces in us mental discomfort that is called cognitive dissonance, and we begin to rationalize a means or a way to avoid confronting that which is dogged our tail for generations. So, brothers and sisters, we're going to go into our first break for tonight. So you all stand by, and we'll be right back after our commercial announcements. Our brother William Muhammad will be on with the Farm Report. Immediately following, we're going to update you. Hey, we got the 30th anniversary of the Million Man March coming up next week. We want to let you know what's going on around the country and in Holly Springs, Mississippi. We'll be right back.
Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. I come in peace, I don't mean you no harm. I say assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. I come in peace, I don't mean you no harm. I don't mean you no. See, I come in peace, ain't nobody I am hurting except my enemies, but for my brothers I am working, cause the powers that be wanna see this, why they're lurking. We're both making our peace, but different food we are serving. See, mine is for the fork, adding substance to the fork, and yours is for the court, doing chores for the pork. We're both under pressure, getting burnt by this 33rd degree. So why on earth you wanna smoke me? It's your brother who's broke, it's your brother who's dying, it's your brother who you poke. Stick him up with the iron, he's the one who is arrested for the same dirty job.
Shake's famous seasonings, flavors for every occasion. Want to add a touch of authentic flavor to any dish? Searching for a unique range of seasonings that always put great taste on the menu? Welcome to Shake's Famous Seasonings. Whether you're a professional chef, passionate home cook, or a complete beginner in the kitchen, taste and flavor should always be on the menu. It's why Master Chef Rashid Muhammad has combined more than 30 years in the kitchen with a passion for mouth-watering flavors to create a range of seasonings unlike any other. Always gluten-free, so you can enjoy great taste exactly how nature intended. Versatile flavors that work with fresh fish, chicken, or vegetables from the very first bite. Authentic cooking experience that adds something special to any occasion. Versatile seasonings that are perfect for baking, frying, grilling, and plenty of tasting. Ready for real authentic flavor? When it's time to see just how delicious seasoned foods can be, why wait? With the click of a button, you can have 30 years of passion for food sent direct to your door. Just what you need to add flavors to every occasion and create meals that you'll always want to eat twice.
Place your order at sfseasonings.com. That's sfseasonings.com.
Taste the difference. Taste supreme. Enjoy our 100% natural Supreme Spring Water with natural calcium and magnesium, but zero fluoride and zero chloride. Our bottles are BPA free. Order yours today. Call us at 800-573-8033. That's 800-573-8033. Or visit us online at www.supremespringwater.com. Live supreme. Be supreme. Drink supreme. Supreme Spring Water, 801 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard, Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30314.
Worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
What's your source for truth in news reporting?
Justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Where do you turn for non-corporate driven news that's fair and balanced?
No shoot. No shoot.
Subscribe to the Final Call News, your #1 free and independent news source that delivers hard-hitting national and international news coverage of today's political, economic, and social issues. To subscribe to local home delivery, call us at area code 662-252-8999. That's 662-252-8999. Visit our website at www.finalcall.com.
The Urban Indulgence Bath and Body Boutique. At Urban Indulgence, we pride ourselves on offering quality, effective skincare. Handcrafted with plant-based, skin-loving ingredients, our soaps and body butters will give you luxurious lather and ultimate moisture. Experience The Urban Indulgence at 3314 Poplar Avenue in Memphis, 3 blocks west of Poplar Plaza, or shop with us online at theurbanindulgence.com. theurbanindulgence.com.
10,000 fearless on the move.
And we're back here live at the 10K Fearless Tri-State Podcast. Once again, I am your brother, your friend, and your host, Abdul Shaheed Muhammad. We want to thank you for tuning in. And of course, get you some of that Supreme Spring Water. Joseph E. Boone Boulevard there in Atlanta. Go ahead. Make sure you get you some water. We need to start shopping with ourselves now, you all. Also, make sure that you download to your smartphone the Final Call radio app, where you can hear 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, lectures of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and music by him as well as artists throughout the Nation of Islam. And you can be enlightened as well as edutained at the same time. Also, make sure you subscribe to the Final Call newspaper. Those of you who are in Marshall County and close to Holly Springs, Mississippi, make sure you, subscribe to the Final Call. You can give us a call at area code 662-252-8999. That's 662-252-8999. Or you can get the digital edition by logging on and going on to www.finalcall.com. Okay? So, as well, make sure that you go by the Urban Indulgence Bath and Body Boutique. It's no longer on Poplar. They're located at 6075 Winchester Avenue inside of the Hickory Ridge Mall here in Memphis. You can also get them at 8045 Giacosa Plaza out in the Wolf Chase area inside the Painted Tree, as well as inside the Painted Tree in Madison, Tennessee. Or you can just go to the website, order online, and ship all around the country. That's www.theurbanindulgence.com, theurbanindulgence.com. Right about now, we're going to shift gears. We're going to go over to our brother William Muhammad, because I know he's ready to give us that farm report, and we really need to know what's going on in the ground. So let's pull him up live here and see what he's got for us tonight. Hold on just a minute there. Assalamu alaikum, Brother William. I'm doing good, my brother. Let me see if I can get you through the switchboard. Okay. Are you there, Brother William? Okay, let's bring him back. Let's bring him back through the phone. Okay. Go ahead, brother. What's the report for tonight?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Yes, sir. Okay, on the national front, at our national farm, rather, we just waiting on the process to be completed for the staple goods packaging. Once that's wrapped up, then Dr. Reed will start shipping out our staple goods that we ordered. So things looking pretty good on that. That's it for the national. On our state farm, we got some turnips coming up. They have bottoms on them. We got a good bit of those planted, so we just waiting on the bottoms to get a little bit bigger, then we'll start harvesting those. And recently had some cabbage and rutabaga, beef and carrots, and I think broccoli also was on that list of things that were planted not too long ago. So hopefully the weather, will be in our favor the next few months, and we can start harvesting those as well before it gets too cold.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, brother. We definitely going to need that. And I saw online, Brother William, you posted some stuff, man. I saw those cucumbers and peppers that you had, man. What's up with that?
Sure, that was actually from some of the last of the harvest that Brother Musa was able to get. I didn't get a chance to go out to the farm last week, so he did make me a little care package.
Oh.
Yes, sir. So I may be able to get back out there Saturday to see if anything else is left. You did have some tomatoes, some cucumbers, some butternut squash, different, I think it was jalapeno peppers, and another cayenne pepper, and some green beans. Had some of those still left. But as of 3 days ago, the green beans and the okra have completely stopped. He got some bunch beans that he planted, and I don't know. He had some coming, but they were still kind of small, so we just waiting to see is the weather going to permit for them to, to come on up some more.
Yes, sir. Praises be to Allah. Well, brother, yeah, as time goes, and as we have been taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we should watch the weather, and we have been told to prepare for survival.
Yes,
get our survival kits, and the thing of it, many of the things the Honorable Louis Farrakhan told us was on the horizon if we didn't get ourselves together and straighten up our act. We're dealing with it now. We're faced with it.
Yes,
so what he is telling us about weather and being prepared for what's to come in terms of survival kits and food, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So, brothers and sisters, those of you who have tuned in, those who will tune in, we'll repeat this, God willing, before the end of this broadcast. Make sure that you prepare yourself. We better get some non-perishable items in our homes. We better get some water and the means by which to store it, because there's some dark days ahead. Now, you can call it gloom and doom all you want, but we didn't make it this way, but it's here. So, Brother William, we certainly thank you, dear brother. We appreciate you every time you come on, brother, and give the report. We certainly do not take it for granted. So inshallah, next broadcast, we'll have you right back on, my brother. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Good Islam, sir.
Yes, that was our brother William. Okay. Stuff starting and stopping around here, but we certainly appreciate you, Brother William, man. Thank you so much for what you do, man, and getting produce and stuff and make whatever is available to us. So now we're going to go into the first part of our program. We want to remind you the 30th anniversary of the historic Million Man March is upon us. We're going to be celebrating from October 17th. That'll be that Friday, the 18th, as well as the 19th. Those of you that remember, many that are listening now were either little bitty children, weren't even born. That's 30 years ago now. Those you 20-somethings, you don't know nothing about this. So this is a history, a recent history that our young people should really avail themselves to and ask yourself the question. The largest gathering of black men, nearly 2 million in the history of America, is almost never talked about in mainstream discourse, media, or anything. Why is it that they don't want to talk about the Million Man March? As beneficial as it was and continues to be, they want you to think that, well, nothing came of it. Well, those who say that, particularly those among our people, they don't see it as having any effect because they want it to affect for the better within the construct of Massa's house, if you will. And if it didn't do something to advance us in our position inside of America's political, economic, and social construct, then in their minds, it didn't really do anything. We're looking for benevolent politicians and philanthropic people to bail us out when the whole theme of the Million Man March was about atonement, reconciliation, and that third word, responsibility. And that is something that we have yet to confront and accept our responsibility. I'm reminded of what the Honorable Louis Farrakhan says in study guide number 3, Overcoming Difficulty, when he tells us that God has ordained struggle and difficulty is followed by ease. And he tells us when we turn away from difficulty, when we do that, there is the deterioration of our character. There is the deterioration of the will, that faculty of consciousness in us that allows us to act. And he said anything that deteriorates the will, it is deteriorating and limiting and curtailing your ability to deal with the problems of life. So this difficulty that we've been faced with as black people, as it relates to our plight here in America, has been our ignorance, which is the number one enemy of the black community, being uninformed or ill-informed, not properly informed. That's why our brother Carter G. Woodson wrote the book, The Miseducation of the Negro. When he wrote in it, he said, when you control a man's actions or thoughts, you don't have to worry about his actions. You don't have to tell him to go here or yonder. He'll find his proper place and he'll stay in it. You don't have to send him to the back door. He'll go without being told. In fact, if there's not one, he'll cut one for his special benefit. Then he says his education makes it necessary. So, brothers and sisters, we want to make you aware that a lot is going on in commemorating the Million Man March. No, we don't depend on mainstream to make it known to our community. It is places like this, our local mosques and study groups and study circles around the country. We are going to be celebrating, commemorating the 30th anniversary of the historic Million Man March. For us, we will be in Holly Springs, Mississippi, From the 17th through the 19th. The 17th, which is that Friday, we will be out in the community doing our community service, servicing our people in Holly Springs and Marshall County. And the following day, that Saturday, we will have Food, Fun, and Family Day. We ask you to come and join us at 165 North Memphis Street, right there in Holly Springs, Mississippi. We will be doing a disaster preparedness presentation, helping our people know and understand. And Holly Springs definitely need disaster preparedness information. So we're going to be doing that. Our brother James will be going over fire safety. He does it professionally, and community safety in general. We're going to be dealing with that this Saturday, as well as bring the children out. We're going to have a bouncy, God willing, and we're trying to get it together. And tentatively, we will have one there for the children to enjoy themselves. And we will make it a day that's festive, fun, where we will enjoy one another's company. And the capstone or the crowning event will be the 30th anniversary celebration with a live webcast from Chicago, Illinois, our headquarters of the Nation of Islam. Come and be with us this coming Sunday at 10 o'clock a.m. And come be with us at 10 o'clock a.m. at 165 North Memphis Street at the historic celebration, or this 30th anniversary celebration in commemoration of the historic Million Man March. And brothers and sisters, we really should consider the Million Man March came out of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan touring America. And this will dovetail well into the next part of our program, which is about 19 minutes away. We'll have our brother Markel Bridges. Oh, man, I almost forgot his name. That's crazy. Know his name, but he will be with us to give us an update. The autopsy results are in from Cleveland, Mississippi. Thanks to our brother, Colin Kaepernick, who stepped in for the family and had an independent professional autopsy by a licensed professional done. And we're going to get into that. But the historic Million Man March, brothers and sisters, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan went around the country with one subject. It's not new. You hear others using it as a mantra, but the genesis of it is with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan way back in the early 90s, when he saw the fratricidal conflict going on that still continues to rage in predominantly black communities amongst our youth. But unbeknown to many of us, it's not happenstance, it's orchestrated. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan lays out how our open enemy is orchestrating it, how he is egging it on and creating the conditions that lend itself to fratricidal conflict and violence amongst our young brothers. With the crack epidemic in the mid-'80s that reached its zenith in the 90s, and it was found that our government, it's documented, our government, I shouldn't say our, because it's never been ours, but the government that said that they were working for our benefit of all Americans, clearly it didn't include black people, because the crack cocaine epidemic was a weapon of the United States, or elements within the United States government. Facts. So the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, seeing that, he began to tour the country. Stop the killing. Lecture after lecture after lecture. Then it culminated in 1993 at the Jacob Javits Center, when the minister began to call men's only meetings. He wanted to talk to men only. And around the country, every stop he made, he stopped here in Memphis. He stopped in all of the major cities and some of the smaller cities around the country, urging our brothers to stop the killing. And he told us during that series of lectures and stops that if we did not get our act together, we would soon see the National Guard in our communities. He told us this way back then. So I ask you, brother and sister, what do you see today? That's what you see, right? So all that this brother, this beloved brother whom we love and I love dearly, has faithfully warned us and has given us good guidance, not just good guidance, but divine guidance, that we may not fall in the snares and the pitfalls and the traps, that our open enemies have laid for us. So clearly not a critical mass of us listened. So now we're seeing the thing that we would hope that we wouldn't see. But we still have time, brother and sister. As long as we're breathing, we got time. Not a lot of it, though. But suffice it to say, at the Jacob Javits Center, the minister began those men's only meetings. And at a certain point, he called for 1 million men from Chicago to meet him in Washington, D.C. And he said to us that he saw it go out of his mouth. And he believed that he was divinely inspired to speak it. Because when it went out, he was like, whoa. But with the faith that he has, he began to chase it and chase it and chase it. And he talked to us and he counseled us and he guided us and he appealed to us to stop the killing. And it began to subside. But our open enemies always planning. You notice the change in the music. It became more violent. Now you got drill rap. It went to tear the club up, to shoot the club up, to kill one another, make each other do the popcorn because we're shooting at one another. And that thug life and murder of one another was popularized in a toxic form of hip-hop music. Yes, it's all the truth. It's documented. But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was blessed by God himself to have nearly 2 million men to gather in Washington, D.C. We took an oath. We took a pledge to go back home, in words, and make our communities safe and decent places to live, to stop killing one another, to not stop the abuse and mistreatment of our women. Honorable things. You would think that every year this is blasted throughout the black community to reaffirm the pledge that we who were there made, and to pass that pledge on to our young people to stop the killing. But we didn't quite keep our word, brothers. So the killing has increased. The despair has increased. And now hangings are becoming more and more frequent. Those who perpetrate them are becoming bolder and bolder because we were given good advice. We were given good guidance. We know that the guidance was good. We bear witness to it. We agree. They take polls. We agree that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan is saying things that the country needs to hear and that it's beneficial. But, truth is that bitter pill that everybody wants but find it very difficult to swallow. I wrote a song just a few days ago. I hadn't published it yet. I got that lyric in there. Our people gather. They love to hear the truth. But like a bitter pill, most can't swallow it. And those that get it down or take it in and it goes down smooth, very few gonna follow it. That's the song I wrote. So here we are, brothers and sisters, at the 30th anniversary, and we're still calling our people to atone, reconcile, and accept the responsibility to make our community safe and decent places to live, because circumstances, whether we want to accept it or not, It's going to force us. And God is in the equation. And he's going to force us to look inwardly, because we're looking all over the place, outside, up, down, to, fro, for the solution to the problem that continues to plague us. Little do we know, or little do we understand, or maybe we just don't want to face it, or face the fact that ain't nobody going to save us but us. But the thing that we have to factor in is God is on our side. I'm not talking about the God that we learned that this society taught us. White folks didn't teach us about God, brothers and sisters. Don't take that the wrong way. Don't get in your feelings. The Jesus and religion that our pastors go to their theological seminaries and learn is not what God intended for us to know about him. Some of it is true. There is truth in it. But it don't take but a little willful disregard of truth and willful misinterpretation and eisegetic interpretation of Scripture to keep us just off the mark. So we've been praying, we've been marching, we've been sitting in, we've been waiting in, we've been praying, we've been fasting, and it looks like things are getting worse. Doesn't look like it. They actually are getting worse. And as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said to us, he said he just about through teaching us anything because he realizes ain't no teaching gonna make us better. It is only the chastisement of God, he says, that'll make us better. So it looked like God is trying to tell us something with these murders, with these deaths, with these hangings. So come and join us and let us remember the pledge we made on October the 16th, 1995. And we want to pass that pledge on to our young people who want to come and learn the history of the Million Man March of 1995. You are certainly welcome to join us in Holly Springs at 165 North Memphis Street, beginning Saturday, October the 18th and the 19th. So I want to segue into tonight's program before our brother comes on in the next 7 minutes or 8 minutes or so, Brother Markel Bridges. Once again, brothers and sisters, we had, you can call it a tragedy. It's really a crime. What happened at Delta State University. And I want to begin by digging into a little history of these kinds of happenings. I have a book, and I've read from it before on this podcast, but I want to use it as the backdrop as our brother comes and gives us an update on the findings of the independent autopsy. And I was able to briefly talk with the mother of the victim, Miss Sophia Reed, and she has our blessings because we want to respect the family. But this book is entitled Without Sanctuary, Lynching Photography in America. If you don't have this in your library, they make it hard to find now, and it's very expensive. When I bought this book, it was only $60. Now, I'm told, I don't know how true it is, I had to go and look for myself. I'm told that they are asking $200 and $300 for this book now. You know why? Because this kind of information in it. This is not a story. These are actual occurrences. Most of you have never heard the name Luther Holbert. Of course not. It's just a black man who met an unenviable end at the hands of a white mob. In fact, Luther Holbert and his wife, the book reads, found themselves subjected to mob justice in Doddsville, Mississippi. In 1904, some 1,000 people stood and watched as the self-appointed executioners went about their business, engaging in the increasingly familiar ritual of torture, mutilation, and murder. A reporter for the Vicksburg Evening Post, y'all know Vicksburg, Mississippi, described the execution of the Holberts. Listen at his description. He said, when the two Negroes were captured, they were tied to trees, and while the funeral pyres were being prepared, they were forced to suffer the most fiendish tortures. The blacks were forced to hold out their hands while one finger at a time was chopped off. The fingers were distributed as souvenirs. The ears of the two were cut off. The Holberts were beaten severely, or Mr. Holbert was beaten severely. His skull was fractured and one of his eyes knocked out with a stick hung by a shred from the socket. The most excruciating form of punishment consisted in the use of a large corkscrew in the hands of some of the mob. This instrument was bored into the flesh of the man and woman, in the arms, legs, and body, and then pulled out the spirals, tearing out big pieces of raw, quivering flesh every time it was withdrawn. Holbert and his employer had quarreled before the murder, but there was no evidence to implicate Holbert's wife. It says two blacks mistaken for Luther Holbert had already been slain by the posse. That's just one account. And I want to read one more before we get to our brother. And this one is very interesting because it gives us a peek into why they did this and why they still do it today. It's just a bit more surreptitious and it's not public, but they do publicize it. It says here, here it is. Once having settled on lynch justice, mobs were not overly scrupulous about determining the guilt of the black victim. The idea, after all, as one black observer noted, was to make an example. He said, quote, knowing full well that one Negro swinging from a tree will serve as well as another to terrorize the community. After a barn burning near Columbus, Mississippi, suspicion fell on the son of Cordelia Stevenson. Unable to locate him, the mob of whites settled on his mother, seized and tortured her, and left her naked body hanging from the limb of a tree for public viewing. A jury rendered the usual judgment in such cases, deciding she had come to her death at the hands of persons unknown. And in some of these stories, they use the same thing they use today. It was suicide. So I said, Brother Muhammad, why you going? Brother Shaheed, why you going on? That's back in them days. Well, it's still happening today. And they're still citing the same old cause. It was suicide. Before the body is good and cold, it was suicide. But of course, with access, or greater access, y'all excuse me, I'm dropping stuff. But with greater access that we have today, you know, we're a bit more affluent, got a little more money. We can check ourselves. And every time we check behind them, we find that there was some, you know, y'all know what I'm trying to say. There's always some nefarious activity associated with what actually happened. So let me check and see, is my brother on yet? Okay, he should be on in about 1 more minute. But brothers and sisters, when we check behind them, we always find the same thing that I just read. And you think this is confined to Mississippi? I got a news article where this is happening in California as recent as 2020. That's just 5 years ago. And one of them was ruled a suicide. So it's not just Mississippi, brothers and sisters. We are going to have to face the reality of what's happening to us. We can't sing it away. We can't get the bag and expect it to be gone. It's like shifting around for a first-class seat on the Titanic. Some of our brothers and sisters are living well. Millions of dollars. They don't mind us having millions of dollars today. They offered one family a $5 million settlement. Brother John told me recently. I'm like, dang, they come up off $5 million just like that? Why? Because see, brothers and sisters, they know and understand, the wise ones. We don't produce anything. So the $5 million that they give us, they know over time they're going to get it back, because who we going to spend it with? We don't support black business as we should. And even black business don't support black business or black economics. We make money as black businesses and go spend it with white businesses. The vast majority of us. So even when we get the big settlement, where does the money go? It goes back in the pockets, the economy, and the coffers of the very people who are silent when it happens to us. Okay, hold on. I think my brother came on. Hold on, Brother Markel. I think I see you. Somebody's trying to call in. Let me see here. Let me make this a little bit smaller. And I have one caller, but it's not opening. Why is it not opening? Let me see. Is this you, Brother Markel? Let me see. Is that you, my brother? Is that you, Brother Markel?
Yes, sir.
I picked the right one. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Stand by just a second. We'll be right back at you. But it is 7:47. But I'm glad my brother is here, and I applaud him and his work and what he does. And he don't just do it part-time. Every Wednesday, he's having a call while we're having study class. And sometimes I'm able to get on. I hadn't been able to get on in a while. But I'm glad my brother accepted the invitation to come be with us tonight. But I want to end, before we bring our brother, with this one last quote that we quoted the last broadcast. It's from one Professor Clarence Casson in Alabama. And he talked about the general principle of lynching. And he said, quote, "This conviction that the black man must now and then be intimidated in order to keep him from forgetting the bounds which Southern traditions have set for him is firmly rooted in the consciousness of many Southern people. So unquestioned is this philosophy that at times lynchings are planned and carried through, not under the fierce compulsion of mob hysteria, but by men who have calmly resigned themselves to the performance of a painful duty, which according to their lights is necessary for the good of society," end quote. So brothers and sisters, tonight's special guest we have is Brother Markel Bridges of Building Bridges for Community Unity and Progress. So, Brother Markel, let me bring you in, get you off mute here, my brother. Listen, man, if you would be so kind, reacquaint yourself with our audience, because we've had you on before. Some may have forgot. So please take a little time and reacquaint yourself with our audience.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. Thank you to the FOI and the Black Muslim Nation, but all the Muslim brothers all over around the globe. The work you do with the Final Call, with 10K Fearless, and with our people in our community on not only educating us, but showing us a real example of what happens when a brother cleans himself up, straightens himself up, and when God is in control of your life. I commend you, and I'll never cease to say that people can say whatever they want to say, but when a brother turns to Allah, he straightens all the way up. And that's Praise just God. The facts. And he instantly becomes a benefit to his community and not a burden. I'm Marquel Bridges. For many of y'all who know me, I'm the president and founder of Building Bridges Coalition, and Building Bridges for Community Unity and Progress, a grassroots organization designed to combat police brutality, racism, and state-sanctioned violence. We believe in being a one-stop shop for all of our people's needs. We believe that it is our job to combat every problem within our community. We believe in being self-sufficient as the Panthers before us, and doing everything in-house. We all we got, and that's all we need. I've dedicated my life to helping our people, and just trying to be a positive force within our community.
Beautiful, brother. Thank you so much for that. Brother, how is Sister Sophia, Miss Reed? How is she? And
she's doing about what you would expect, given the situation. She's super strong. I got to commend her for her strength. I got to commend her for her integrity. From day one, she always told me she just wants the truth, and answers, transparent. She says she don't want to, stir things up or nothing but the facts.
Right.
And she stood by that. She stood by her word, and that's the only thing that she talks to me about is the facts. And what can be proven, what was shown to her.
Right. And that's reasonable, brother. All we want is the truth as well. And it's been proven time and time again, particularly in the state of Mississippi. Truth is just something that they want to peddle, especially where we're concerned in situations like this. And shout out to and much thanks to Sister Sophia. We had a brief conversation. We thank you, sister, for allowing us and giving us your blessing to even have the discussion, because we want to be super respectful. This is very painful, brothers and sisters. It hurt my feelings. It still hurts. That's one of the things that happens, brother Markel, when you come to consciousness and you develop a healthy respect for self, and then by extension love for your people, it hurts. You feel it when these kinds of things happen. So, brother, if you would, at Delta State University is where this happened. How did the family find out initially about what happened? Who contacted them? Because the university president, I watched the press conference in its entirety. The president, Daniel J. Ennis, said he had been in regular and frequent contact with Trey's next of kin. What did the family actually say, brother?
It's important to note that every family has two sides, a mother and a father.
Right.
So I've been dealing directly with his mother's side of the family, the Reed side of the family, which was his last name was Reed. So I can only speak to what happened with them. I don't know if the father's side or the grandmother was contacted by them or not. That is for them to say. But I know the mother was not contacted. She was contacted by Grenada Police Department.
Wow.
Which told her that Trey died in his dorm room.
Okay. So that begs the question, when Trey was sent off to college, from whose home was he sent? His mother's home, or was his father's side, or his father's home? Or do we even know?
He lived with his mother until the age of 15. She was beginning to expand for more room, so he went to live not with his father, with his father's parents.
Okay.
So his grandparents on that side. And that's how they end up being next of kin on the college documents.
Okay, makes sense. See, brothers and sisters, when you get actual facts, and we love actual facts, that brings clarity to the situation. So now that we know and understand that, has there been any contact, or have you been in contact with that particular side of the family, or received information in terms of what they were told? Now, you just said they told mom, the police department. What county was that again?
Grenada.
Grenada County. Said that he died in his dorm room.
Yes.
Which I find odd that the police would not have accurate information and say that he died in his dorm room.
Me too. Now, I haven't been in contact with his father's side at all. Not by choice, just simply I don't know him. And when I was on the ground, I met with his mother's side and cousins and different people who reached out to me via social media and different places, telling me and asking me for my help. And the father side was nowhere around. They might have been at the memorial, but I wouldn't have known them to know that.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. So the memorial, you were present at the memorial. So
Yes, sir.
You didn't know whether they were there or not?
I did not.
Okay,
I
but
know the entire Reed side of the family was there, but like I said, I don't know. I never even was visually seen them until I just seen the initial interview they did. I think it was a auntie or something on the father's side.
Right.
Was the first time I ever had a face with a name, you know.
Right.
And none of them have reached out. I've had other of my comrades that have talked to the uncle who's alumni on the dad's side for Delta State. But that's about as far as my contact with them goes.
Yes, because I was a press conference was published by a female attorney. I think her name is, God, I forgot. I had it in last week's notes, but I watched it and they were at a relative's church, and I think it was an uncle whose church they had the press conference at, and she talked about some things in terms of them not allowing the family to see the body, only allowing them to see the body from the neck up and that kind of thing. So when did the mother find out the actual way he came to his demise?
She went to the school. She was saying that they were directing her to the hospital, but she said her spirit led her to go to the school. And her and the grandparent initially went to the room because they thought it was a dorm room. And they was in fact over by the pickleball court taking his body down.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So has there been any further talk of what police chief or the campus police chief, Michael Peeler, he said there's camera footage, but he didn't expound on it. He just said camera footage existed. So has the family been made aware or been able to view any of that?
Yes, they viewed all of that, and I can say with 1,000% certainty that he lied and omitted the truth in a purposefully and intentional way to mislead the public. There is no camera footage of Trey Reed's death, lynching, suicide, whatever you want to call it, whatever you believe. There is no camera footage of him dying or being murdered. The family was shown video of him walking back and forth at a completely different part of the campus and sitting in front of his girl's dorm room. And they were shown pictures of him on other parts of the campus. That's it. The pickleball court and where he was found lynched is the one blind spot, the commonly known blind spot. It was called by the students, not by me, the white hangout spot where they drink and smoke and where you do, I'm not even bashing the white students, where you do where you go when you don't want to be on camera. We've been college age before. So this is the place where the campus kids go when they don't want to be seen.
Wow. So the persons that put him there, because it's to my understanding, he died not there, according to the findings of the autopsy. He was placed there after he was deceased. Is that accurate?
That's what I believe. I've been, the way I've approached this, the seriousness of this case, I've made sure to not do any speculation.
Okay, very good.
But there's no footage of him hanging himself. There's no footage of someone murdering him and putting him on the tree. But I believe in my heart of hearts that's what happened.
Right. So, and me, brother, as a law enforcement professional, I can't wrap my head around why a law enforcement official will drop that there is video footage out there if he already knows that there is no actual footage of the incident. Why even say that? Because if all you have is footage of him sitting and walking, he's still alive. We want to know, is there footage of someone placing him there, or is there footage of the actual murder. Now, if the students know that the pickleball court area is a blind spot, certainly the police chief of the campus knows that. So why didn't he simply say, well, there are no cameras that cover the angle of the pickleball court? That's my thing.
It's actually commonplace. When you're dealing with cover-ups, it's to mislead the public,
of course,
so the family don't garner support. Sort of nothing to see here.
Mm-hmm.
We have all we need. Just believe us without showing you anything. They didn't want people. They knew the nature of this case. They didn't want people showing up, and most of all, to protect Delta State.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big difference in a child committing suicide and then a child being murdered on campus and lynched on campus. That stands to lose millions of dollars. Enrollment drop.
Federal funding.
Yeah, funding on both sides.
Right.
I'm sure that the 40% of black kids would stop sending their children there, and even the 60%. We know this a PWI, but a large chunk of those don't want their children at a college where someone was murdered. So everything that they've done from beginning, just from my perspective, was to protect Delta State and protect this institution.
Wow. So this family, the life of Trey, the family, the pain and anguish of the family has, to take a back seat to the well-being of the university. So, and they wonder why the mantra Black Lives Matter was screamed to the top of the lungs of our people. And unfortunately, some of our own people want to say, well, all lives matter. Well, that of course they all do, but it is the black life that is the most threatened life in this country that almost never gets justice, when justice means that it's going to be some level of discomfort to the majority society. Okay, so brother, the thing, like you said earlier, that the mother said or was told he died in his dorm room. Who brought the news that he was actually found at the pickleball court? Was it the police, local police, or was it the campus police? Was it the college president?
It was her being on campus and the actual community.
Ooh.
And people, she has Trey Reed's girlfriend's roommate is Trey's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
So, the roommate and other people alerted the mom. They know a lot of people within the area, and they actually told her and began to send her stuff and videos and
right.
The community just banded together trying to help, trying to figure these things out. But that's how she learned. So
you're telling me, brother, that the local officials never gave her the official cause or way he was found or where he was found, knowing they knew all the time, they had to know that he was not found in the dorm room dead.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he was killed in the dorm room and then taken to the pickleball court.
In my opinion, in my honest opinion, the mother and the Reed side of the family has been slighted at every turn.
Mm-hmm.
The dean in Delta State showed her zero respect as his mother, and even began to paint a negative picture of her without any intel. And I told somebody on one of my posts in my comments the other day, I said, I live with my mother, I live with my father, and I live with my grandparent.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them love me by choice. And, it wasn't something nefarious going on. That is normal progression when you do it in an unorthodox way, other than the way God intended, meaning that you're divorced or you're not married. Of course, at some point in time, you're going to live with me.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point in time, you're going to go be with your father. And if your you know what I'm saying? So
right.
What they're trying to make something out of is nothing. Miss Sophia loved Trey. That was her best friend. He loved his siblings. She has other children who was his siblings who Trey took it upon himself to be responsible for and to be a leader and to show and take it upon him to say, I'm going to make a better life for us, because he's had some trials and difficult life with loved ones being murdered and different things of that nature. So he took it upon himself to be that for his family. So I hate the way that Miss Sophia, his mother, has been treated, and the Reed side of the family has been treated.
Wow. This is crazy, man. But I want to get to what the Bolivar County Coroner's Office, from what I understand, they retrieved the body. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, the Bolivar County Sheriff's Office, and the Cleveland Police Department are assisting in the investigation, or they assisted. Is that correct?
Well, we have to hold DSU campus police accountable, because they launched the initial investigation and they have refused. Various media outlets have asked for the footage and the things they have, and they've been refused. So they're the beginning of all this. They actually called Cleveland police in. So we don't know what they did, what they contaminated, what they hid, what they covered up, starting with them, with the on-campus police. And then Cleveland came in, and that's when Bolivar and everything took over.
Brother, and what most in the public may not know, there's something called a forensic dump. It's used on cell phones. When you think you erase something off your phone, there's a means by which it can be retrieved with software, and it's called a forensic dump. It's a forensic search of the hard drive, if you will, of that cellular device. The same would apply for any hard drive where you think you've erased or manipulated. It is retrievable. So as long as they got the original storage or data storage unit that footage was recorded on, it's still there. It can be retrieved. So they have not been forthcoming with the camera footage that they say don't show anything. Well, if it doesn't show anything, why are they being so stingy with it?
Definitely. That's the question. The question is, how before you do an investigation or a preliminary autopsy do you come to the public and say no foul play? Everything about this case from beginning to now, it just hasn't made any sense. And we're living in a time where, just like with Kyron Lacey, they keep trying to tell us something and show us something else. Just like Ryan Hinton, in his video footage, there is no gun, but yet they keep telling us to believe that he had a weapon, but showing us something different. So you're telling us to believe that Trey Reed committed suicide, but you've done questionable things, omitted the truth, and you can't show us that. Right. And if they could show us that, they would have already showed us that.
Yes. And brother, just my observation of it, and looking at the press conference they held, you can see in the body language, when you do what I've done for a living for over 30 years, you interview, you interrogate people, you take statements, you begin to pick up on certain things in terms of a person's body language that sends a message, a clear message, in terms of whether they're being truthful. You can tell when people are uncomfortable. And looking at them, brother, I picked up immediately that everybody standing there, the president making the statements, he was totally uncomfortable. His body language spoke volumes. It's just an observation I made. But now, to what they said. Now, according to what Mr. Ennis and his police chief said, there were no signs of foul play. None. That's what they said. Okay. Now, has the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, did they publish their findings stating, because I don't recall hearing anything. I may have just missed it. To my understanding, the university police said there were no signs of foul play, and they were waiting on the medical examiner and the final autopsy pending. What were their final results? Were they the same as what was announced at the press conference?
Yes, their autopsy and their complete report is done. The state of Mississippi, the coroner's office, and they ruled it as a suicide, which totally contradicts the preliminary findings of the second autopsy. You know, just me being me, and I don't have any police background, but just me being a normal person, if I see someone wearing a red do-rag, a black Nike Tech, gray jogging pants, and some Crocs hanging from the tree, I'm gonna question, where does this belt come from? You don't have pants that fit a belt.
That's right. You don't need a belt if you got on gray jogging pants. You don't need that to hold up. Whose belt is that?
So just to immediately rule out foul play without checking off these questions,
wow,
is extremely strange to me.
There should be DNA on that belt. The owner of the belt's DNA is more than likely on that belt.
It wasn't even, if I know about the state of Mississippi, it wasn't even tested, brother. The belt was not tested. Trey Reed had no ligature marks. He had no bruising around his neck. He had no marks from the belt around his neck.
For those that don't know what ligature marks are the marks that you get around the neck from a hanging, and they should stop just above the carotid artery. They should not cross in the back. If the ligature marks cross in the back, that's a strangling. That's not a hanging.
Correct. Trey Reed died from a hemorrhage initially from their, I'm going off the state's autopsy, from their own autopsy. He died from a hemorrhage in the neck. When I researched this thoroughly and I fact-checked it, threw it in ChatGPT, looked it up, hit some books, all of his injuries are consistent with manual strangulation, meaning somebody strangled him and not hanging. And he was said to be on this tree for hours. So how do you not even have a bruise on your neck?
So he wasn't there for as long as they reported, clearly.
Clearly.
Wow. See, brothers and sisters. So now let's move to the second autopsy. And then we're going to start landing this plane because it's 12 after 8. What were the findings of the independent autopsy funded by our brother Colin Kaepernick?
Got you. The only thing that has came out thus far is the preliminary results, and which there was a meeting with the family, the Kaepernick Foundation, and Crump's team. And the findings from the preliminary, and the only reason it's preliminary and it's not completed is because the state haven't turned over everything.
God.
They didn't send Trey organs. They didn't send X-ray photos and different things to compare. And Dr. Okoye is very thorough and won't make any rulings until he has everything, as you would expect and as you would want with somebody who's objectively trying to find the truth. But what it found was blunt force trauma to the back of the head. He had marks on his buttocks and he had marks on his left leg. So
the information that will give a conclusive result, they are withholding. Is that what we're saying here?
Yes.
So X-rays would determine whether or not there were any fractures, and his organs. See, when certain things, the organs will tell you the story in terms of cause and manner of death, is what most people don't know. You know, so the condition of those organs are vital, you know. So I heard in the news, people were saying that some of his organs were missing. No, not missing. The state still got them.
Yes, and I want to be very clear, because that this doesn't mean that they're not gonna turn them over.
Okay, thank you.
They just haven't. Now it might come up to where they are missing, and that's a whole different can of worms.
Oh,
but because, like I told you, what his mother wants nothing but the truth out, which they just haven't turned them over yet. And upon, if they don't turn them over, then we'll know something more nefarious is at play, which we've seen in other cases, just like Ronald Green, and other police brutality or lynchings where they take the organs and they are missing. But we can't 100% certainty say that until they just refuse to turn them over. So as of now, they just haven't turned them over. They could be on the way. I haven't had an update since the last update about it.
Yes. I would like to know, brother, if they're finished, if they're reporting, and here's another thing, another little caveat. To my understanding, brother, some of the information in terms of the actual report that was their report was missing or not complete. Is that correct?
You're talking about the state's autopsy,
right? Correct. Yes, sir.
There's no, you can go look this up, please, everyone, all the listeners, please don't just take my words for it. The state autopsy is finished. They finished. The toxicology report came out sometime last week. That's what they said they were waiting on. There's no time of death. Their own report says no ligature marks or bruising around the neck. Their own report, says hemorrhage on the right or left side of the neck. I don't want to misquote, but on one side of the neck, which is conclusive with a strangulation, manual strangulation, and not hanging, meaning somebody choked him to death. So all of this is in theirs. All of these inconclusive and indecisive measures are in the state's autopsy report.
Wow. Good God Almighty.
Which is out, which is public information now.
So, brother, see, I got to calm down, brother. See, man, look, what's going through my mind, if I may share right now, when are we as a people going to understand what we're dealing with, particularly in Mississippi? You're not dealing with a single-headed problem. These people this is a web. They're connected. Just like the Goon Squad, all of them were acting in concert to cover one another's crime. And based on what's coming out, brother, there are elements at the state level. I'm not going to indict everybody yet. There's somebody at the state level, or somebodies, plural, are engaged in helping to not allow certain things to come out. That's what it appears to be at this point. And I emphasize it appears to be.
I'm not afraid to say it, brother. One of the main people within the state of Mississippi at a state level that's denying black people justice, that's not allowing this information to come up, and that's covering for these racist individuals and
who is
these racist police officers is Attorney General Lynn Fitch.
It's Attorney General Lynn Finch or Fitch.
Fitch.
I'm gonna have to look her up because I didn't know that.
Yes,
so
sir.
What?
She even overchanged and overturned the law and got Anthony Fox out of prison. That's the guy who killed George Robinson, Dexter Wade's mother's brother. So Dexter Wade's mother, Miss Betterstein Robinson, she lost her brother first, got Anthony Fox locked up, convicted. He was in prison. And then the Jackson police killed her son as well. So in the midst of that, Attorney Lynn Fitch went back through the case, overturned some stuff, and paid him $75,000.
So what's the ethnicity of this person that she got out?
He's black. He's a black officer.
Oh, he's a police officer. Okay.
Yeah, he's a police officer. He's blue. But this has been her stance on all of this, refusing to prosecute. See, this is what I want you to know. The state I was talking about, I was the first person to ever talk about the Goon Squad. I was the first person to ever help Michael and Eddie, Melvin and Mary. I met with Melvin and Mary the day after it happened. I took them to Applebee's and just listened to them. And then we went to the hospital to get them in to see Michael as he was handcuffed to the bed with the officers who did it. So the state, which is Attorney General Lynn Fitz, she never chose to prosecute them.
My God.
The DOJ, they were federally charged, and then she just didn't have a choice but to follow suit. But they were still working. Like, she knew about this. They were still working, and she was never going to do anything.
See, brothers and sisters, this is what we're dealing with. And you know, Brother Markel, man, thank you. I applaud you, my brother. I applaud. And see, this is why this is called the 10K Fearless Tri-State Podcast. We're not going to have no punks. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that in a negative way. Because see, brother and sister, the scripture says the fearful will have their part in the lake that burns with fire and brimstone. That's scripture. God don't like cowards. Because what happens, brother, when the establishment, an entire institution, and those who are in positions of authority in high places, that's what we're at war with. You know, principalities and powers and rulers of the darkness of this world and spiritual wickedness in high places. This woman is at the state level attorney general, and this is what's happening. So that's what we're at war with. And some of us, brother, we are afraid of that. So, you know, rather than face it, we allow our character to be deteriorated, as the Honorable Louis Farrakhan says in study guide number 3, Overcoming Difficulty. And then he says anything that undermines or erodes your will, it deprives you of what you need to cope with the problems of life. So our people are getting to the point where they can't cope. So we turn inwardly on self. But brother, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan said this about Mississippi, and I want Mississippi to know this. Excuse me. He said, of the 50 states of this United States of America, he loves Mississippi the most. I found that interesting. He said, because of the suffering of our people. And he said some of the strongest leadership is going to come out of Mississippi and the Delta. And I think you're one of those persons, Brother Markel. Because I've watched you, brother. I've read news stories in the Final Call on work that you've done and your effort to just help our people and be a voice for them. And I really appreciate a brother like yourself standing firm and strong and fearlessly in the face of that kind of onslaught. Now, what do you think, brother, can be done outside or beyond of bringing lawsuits and finding the truth? Once we know the truth of what happened, what do you think are the next steps for us collectively as Black people, particularly in Mississippi and in the Delta?
Firstly, you hit it right. You hit it right on the head. Stop being cowards. You know, we can no longer pretend that it's anything else. We know this is happening. We know COINTELPRO happened. We know mass incarceration happened. We know the war on drugs happened. We know Jim Crow happened. We know all this originated in Mississippi. We know that the black codes happened. We know that redlining happened. We know that they gave us the CIA gave us crack and then declared the war on drugs, which funded mass incarceration, which has never stopped. We know about 4,000 lynchings took place in the Jim Crow era. We know that they never stopped. So the knowledge of what's going on is not the problem. Deep down, every Black person, not just in Mississippi, all around the country knows what's going on and knows that there's a different set of rules. I'll take January 6th for example. I heard every Black person that I encountered say, we could never do that.
Right.
We
We know that.
shot. So everybody knows it's a different set of rules for us, a different set of laws, and that we are in fact still oppressed. We are in fact still POW. So my challenge to people in Mississippi, which is 49.4% black, is the largest black population outside of Chocolate City, which is Washington, D.C. So all Mississippians have to do is stop being cowards and stand up and say we're not going to take it anymore. And that means by fighting with your vote. That means by fighting with your finances and your economic power. That means by, if it comes to it, fighting with your hands and defending your community. I don't mean starting anything or antagonizing or going out to commit acts of violence. I'm talking about self-defense of your community and your people.
You have a right.
You got to stop being made to feel bad for defending yourself. No other group is made to feel bad for defending yourself. So everyone's got to get educated, get armed, get knowledgeable in all of these areas and start participating. And it's just the lack of participation. They know, the enemy knows that we're not unified. The enemy knows that people are going to be riled up for about 2 weeks and then they're gone and distracted by the next big topic, the next thing that comes down your timeline or whatever they come out with to distract you. So we got to get focused and be willing, like the dear brother Malcolm said, by any means necessary. That mantra is ever so true to today, you know. And in his speech where he talked about who taught you how to hate yourself, you know, that's the part that sticks out to everyone. But the part that should stick out to you is the fact that in 1960 he was telling us about the grand jury, the secret grand jury, the coroner, and how all of these people were complicit in covering up black lynchings and black murder and covering for the police. And that was in 1960. He talked about how that they are going to demonize the black and criminalize the black population so they can come in our neighborhoods and you over police and use Gestapo tactics and kill you for anything. And he said, white people are naive enough to believe the lie. And now we have people in 2025 running around telling people that 13% of the country commits all the murders and all the crimes.
Exactly.
So he was exactly right. So only thing I can say at this point, brother, is stop being cowards. Stop being tough only with your people.
Come on.
And give everybody the same energy that you give your people.
Yes,
you know?
sir. Yes, sir. Well, brother, look, man, we're going to go over a little bit. It's 8:27. I'll give us to around 8:45 because I want to ask you, brother, you said fight back with your vote and with your dollars. What does that look like in your mind? Because I have a view of what that might look like, but I want to know, what does that look like in your mind?
We don't have to reinvent the wheel. The enemy has done an ingenious job on oppressing us. You have to applaud them. If you were going to oppress someone step by step, you just follow their blueprint. In the cities, Mississippi has 12 predominantly black cities. A lot of people don't know that. In those cities, start in those cities and work your way out. Concentrate on the local leadership. Groom, just how they groom Charlie Kirk. A lot of people don't know that. Just how they groom all of their next leaders. We need to pick people out in our community that keep their nose clean, that keep them out of jail, keep them out of trouble, keep them from saying idiotic things and anything that would hurt them achieving their goal, just like they did with Obama. And groom and put people in place that are not going to be Sambos and not turn their back on their people the moment they get elected. You know, collectively vote at a local level. Stop chasing the president and a puppet and a figurehead and vote for your attorney general. Vote for your district attorney. When these families are faced with police brutality, that's who they running into. That's who is saying they're not going to prosecute. That's who's covering up. But yet, when it's time to vote for a district attorney, I don't see no long lines of black people. Lynn Fitch has run unopposed for the last 8 years. Nobody even threw their name in the hat. So these positions of power, your mayor, your governor, you know, your governor is really important. When black people are on the chopping block and innocent and on death row, your governor has the power to pardon them. So voting in the positions that really matter, your local city council control all the funding to your city. A lot of our people don't know that, but yet are we filling these city councils with righteous black brothers and sisters. For one, who gonna do right by everybody. That's always the goal. But that's definitely gonna ensure that our people are not being treated unfairly, unjustly. That there's not any inequality taking place.
Right, right. You know, brother, there's a saying, and it's an old saying, and I'm sure you've heard it, where that goes, politics without economics is symbol without substance, which is very, very true, because our economics should undergird our politics, because, you know, the reality in America, man, is politicians are bought and sold. You know, that's why they're trying to talk about campaign finance reform. You know, they go and buy these people, essentially. So economic withdrawal is something that's been in my mind when Mississippi is concerned. And there has to be a means by the only way that can happen, brother, and as you stated, the enemy knows we're not united. They know that, you know, and we know that. The question becomes for us is what we're going to do about our disunity, because the Honorable Louis Farrakhan said this once. He said, organized hate will always overcome and defeat, in words, I'm not quoting him exactly, but he said, organized hate will always defeat disorganized love. And black organizations that are out working on behalf of our people, they love. It's just that not a critical mass of us are united and organized effectively, where we can have operational unity and get things done on a mass scale, as opposed to each individual entity getting their own small victories. You follow what I'm saying? So I looked at what the minister said to us, and there are some other observations that the minister speaks to, because they are organized. Hate is organized. Hate is united. Hate is disciplined, because they stay quiet. When they do wrong, they cover. They're disciplined. And hate is monetized. The problem with us is our love is disorganized. Our love is disunited. Our love is undisciplined. And our love is unfunded. This is why they continue to win. So, and another thing, brother, our youth, this Stop the Killing, and I opened tonight's program letting the people know that we're about to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Million Man March, where the minister began that with the lecture, Stop the Killing, that he took all over the place, all over this country. And it began to work, and our enemy went to work on our youth, because if you remember, brother, the fifth denial objective was to not allow the long-range growth of black nationalist type organizations by disallowing us from converting young people. So in my mind, brother, what do you think about beginning to, how can I say, I guess I call it a crusade of sorts that the Million Man March speaks to begin to unite the pantheon of black organizations, beginning just in Mississippi. Organizations like yours, organizations like the Geronimo Platt Gun Club, the Nation of Islam, the NAACP, the Black Panther Party, all of these organizations, all of us are working. But what can we begin to do, brother, to begin to have some operational unity? Because they're organized and united and well-funded. We're not. What are your thoughts on that?
First off, I have to once again revert back to the dear brother Malcolm. You know, the wisdom is already there. He said, they're not killing you because you're Muslim. They're not killing you because you're Christian. Mm-hmm. They're not killing you because you got a college degree.
Right.
They're killing you because you're black. So we have to unadopt all of these divisive tactics that they deployed to divide us up. Mm-hmm. You know, stop labeling ourselves in such a way that we forget who we are as a people.
Right.
You know, you can your religion is your choice. Your collegiate values is your choice. Right. But you being black is not your choice. That was God's choice. So get back to the root of Black people as a whole is our family. Get back to a collective mindset. And once again, I just can't reiterate, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know, Charlie Kirk was going around and politicizing this youth for the last 5 years on PWIs, predominantly white institutions and college campuses. And our people didn't even realize the effect he had and how many people he had indoctrinated with racism and the influence that he had. But why is nobody going around? Why is our college campuses not talking about Trey Reed, Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, Mike Brown Jr., Jalen Lewis, Ronald Green, Glenn Falk? Why is this not being taught? Why is this not being taught in our churches? When Trump's first run, I have a friend named JoJo. His mother's married to a white guy who's a conservative, and they invited him to church. You know, they tell us that we can't, but they was giving out flyers and telling them to vote for Trump and arm yourselves and we at war. You know, why are black churches not talking about this? Why are black sororities and fraternities not talking about this? Where is the people that's going around to, one, educate? Because all of this, majority of our problems within our community, sadly, and I didn't understand it when I first started this fight. I always make this joke, brother, because I was so radical and so fired. You know, when you got that fire and passion and you want to change things, I'm
zealot,
like, man, we
brother.
need to go get some bullets and start shooting. But and the older people would be like, no, it's the lack of education, it's ignorance. And the more I've grown, the more I've learned that everywhere I travel in this country, that's literally how they keep us oppressed. Ignorance of the facts, ignorance of our history, ignorance of who we are, ignorance of our power, ignorance of the power of our dollar. So it's all can be a majority. I ain't gonna say all, because some people do need to be knocked upside the head
Yes, sir.
with self-defense. But majority of our issues can be solved with education, you know, financial literacy, and just being educated of self and educated of history. That's why, once again, I got to commend the FOI and my Muslim brothers, because that's what y'all make sure y'all do.
Yes. And you know, Brother Markel, I can speak to why it's not going on college campuses, those kinds of conversations, because the HBCU is funded by white money, brother. I've experienced that personally in Holly Springs, Mississippi, because Russ College is a HBCU, but it's funded with white Methodist money. And because it is funded with white Methodist money, I was invited several times on the campus. Chaplain Annie Travis, come to find out, their sister was former MGT in the nation. She's retired now. She's no longer there. And the second chaplain invited me on campus a couple of times. Dr. Ivy Taylor was the president. She was a progressive sister from San Antonio, Texas. We interviewed her on this podcast, and she wanted me to do more work on the campus. And then a little while later, she came to me and told me she needed to pump the brakes and slow down because she's being accused of changing the Christian values of the students. Next thing I know, they gotten rid of her. We hadn't heard anything from Russ College since she's been gone. So, and then not only that, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, now that's the main thing I want to get over. He was going to college. He was being invited by students, and students who paid activity fees were being threatened. But there are elements in America, go do the research, you know who they are. Some of them are members of the Jewish community that threatened black college presidents to not allow the minister to speak on their campuses, nor any of his students in the ministry. So we're no longer invited onto the campus of the nation of HBCUs. Swallow that, audience. Historically black colleges and universities are being dictated to as to who can be allowed to speak to their students. And it is white money that dictates that. So, brother, that is a huge problem. So people like Colin Kaepernick become important because we have moneyed black people. We really don't, with a level of unity at the upper echelon of the income earners of black America. We could fund our own colleges because as long as they fund them, Brother Markel, those kinds of important conversations that need to be held amongst our young people won't be held the way they should be. So. But my brother, look, we're at the end of tonight's conversation. Man, I applaud you. Let's give him a round. And these conversations are very important, Brother Markel. And, brother, we're definitely going to have you back. I had a little bit more, but I don't want to prolong it. It's 8:40. The last thing I'll say, what do you think, or ask you, what do you think about the potentiality of us going amongst our young people with what the Honorable Louis Farrakhan was doing in the 90s? All black organizations pick up the subject of stop the killing, because in my estimation, brother, our youth are going to have to become the protectors of our women and children in our communities. What do you think about that?
I'm totally for it. That's definitely an initiative of the Building Bridges Coalition. Accountability goes across the board. You have to start in your own house first, and then work outward. You fix your house, and then you go outside and you fix your yard, and then you go down the street and you help your neighbor get it together. So I'm actually the young people's wrath and anger is vindicated. It's just misplaced from ignorance and self-hate. Mm-hmm. So, this trauma is passed down in the bloodline. And even once again, I keep quoting Malcolm, but he said this before. It's like we don't have to reinvent it. This already been taught, just like the Honorable Louis Minister Farrakhan has said this before. These generations are going to come that they no longer believe in the lie, that they no longer fearful, and they are ready to fight. It's just through self-hate, through oppression, through ghettos and projects where they're on top of each other, which is a CIA experiment to make you kill each other. And if every race or group of people, if you take and limit resources, then they're going to fight over resources to where they can't even see who's really oppressing them and who got them trapped here. Mm-hmm. So education, our black men have to stop being scared of our youth and get back in our community and talk to these young brothers. When you make it out, we have to show these brothers a better way. If the drug dealer hangs out in the community and talks to these kids, all the negative influences come back. So if that's their only examples, but those of us who make it out, those of us who achieve greatness rarely ever come back. Now we're too good for our people. Right. So those people have to come back, and we have to constantly reach back. It's on us to change it. Parenting, once again, accountability as parents. Mm-hmm. If you as a single mother cannot handle that child, please stop. Let go of your hatred for his father or whatever your relationship status and what you went through, and send that black boy child to his father so he can learn how to be a man. Yes, and it's just really that simple. Stop letting us divide us. Black women, we are not against you. Black women need to tell black men, we not against you. When your son reach a certain age and it's time to learn how to be a man, he need to be with his daddy. Because can't no woman teach him that. It's no different if I have a daughter. If my daughter stay with me full time, when she got to a certain age and her cycle and all of this stuff, you need to go be with your mom.
That's
so
right,
she can
brother.
Teach you this stuff.
Yes, sir. Well, Brother Markel, we've been blessed to talk to our young men, and it's been too long. We were in Tupelo, Mississippi. We started something called a Real Talk Tour. Shout out to Brother Teddy Cobb of the GD Nation, OG Capone, OG J-Rock, and all of those brothers.
Shout out J-Rock and Capone.
Yeah, and Brother Maine C. Those brothers are in the trenches, man, and they're doing their work. But we want to get back on that stick, God willing, brother. My plan is we're going to go among these young ones, brother, and we're going to have this conversation. We ain't look for no camera. And, anything that grows, it sends a shoot down long before it sends a root down, long before it sends a shoot up. So, brother, our desire and our objective is to go after our young people and our people in general. That's what we do in the Nation of Islam. That's our charge. So we're going to be asking and petitioning organizations like yours. We want to work with you, brother, where we can to get some things done. But as we attack those who are not giving us justice, to fight for that, On the opposite end, we need to be fighting for our babies to pull them out of this tailspin of self-hatred and slaughter of self. So my brother Markel, man, once again, thank you. Any parting comments you want to leave with us before you go, my brother?
October 15th, the trial for Jalen Lewis began in Jackson, Mississippi. His mother's fight and his family's fight has gotten 2 Capitol Police indicted for manslaughter. She's going to need your support. Go tap in to her GoFundMe. Show up. She's going to need court support. October 20th is court for the civil trial for Jorge Gomez in Las Vegas, Nevada. And January 13th, the trial for the racist white man who killed Jordan Hill starts January 13th. Those are things you need to be tapped in. Justice for Trey Reed and justice for all stolen lives. Pay attention to the Kyrie Lacy situation. It's exposing how corrupt Louisiana State Patrol is and state police is, which we already knew with Ronald Green. So justice for Ronald Green, Glenn Foster Jr., Dexter Wade, and all stolen lives.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you so much, brother.
You brother.
You will certainly not be a stranger here, and those that are listening, brothers and sisters, I say to all of us, get involved. Many hands, my student minister Abdul Muthakir Muhammad used to say this all the time. Many hands make light work, which the converse of is few hands make hard work. So there's not enough hands to the gospel plow, to the struggle plow. So brothers and sisters, brothers like Markel Bridges, the Nation of Islam, the Geronimo Platt Gun Club, even the NAACP. We can say it ain't going to do nothing. Well, it ain't going to do nothing because we're not getting involved. So, brothers and sisters, let's get involved. Brother Markel, it's been a pleasure and an honor. And God willing, brother, we'll have you back in the very near future. Until then,
likewise, brother.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Support the Hewitt P. Newton Gun Club, man.
Yes, sir. All right, peace. That's our brother Markel. And brothers and sisters, we certainly thank all of you for tuning in and being a part of tonight's podcast. And I want to leave you with words from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, brothers and sisters. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan says to us, no one can attempt to help our people do anything productive and constructive without feeling personal hurt, pain, loss, being evil spoken of, falsely accused, sometimes beaten, sent to prison, or even put to death. This is the path of Jesus. This is the path of Muhammad. And this is the path of every sincere person who wants to see his or her people delivered from our present condition. End quote. Brothers and sisters, once again, thank all of you for tuning in. And always remember that self-improvement is the basis for community development and until next time, we leave you once again as we came before you with the greeting words of peace, of assalamu alaikum, or peace be unto you.
Gotta make a move and take control. Have something we can call our own. So shine your light, help the people see that now is the time for us to be free. And if you waiting on the pie in the sky, you better wake up fast. They told you a lie, cause big fields await the wide awake man. Elijah's got the master.
10,000 fearless on the move. 10K fearless. Mississippi. 10K fearless on the move. Mississippi. Sip. Injustice, we've had enough. All of our divisions we're breaking up. Destiny has been calling us. The spirit of the Most High is guiding us.
See, the time is now. What you waiting on? Quit shooting your brothers. Put your gun down. Come on. They got a cage waiting for you if you keep that up. Early graves coming to you. From that, can't raise you up. Now, Sister Ida B and Fannie Lou, check them out and you'll know what to do. But if you really want your enemy to be alarmed, read the final call. Follow Farrakhan.
10,000 fearless on the death